Welcome into the 49ers Report by Chat Sports. I'm your host, Jay Senior. Appreciate all of you for making the show a part of your day. We start off by getting into the latest 49ers news and rumors, all centering around Deebo Samuel possibly getting a contract extension in the offseason. And could DeMeco Ryans go to the Minnesota Vikings to take over as head coach for Miek Zimmer? His stock right now is soaring because the entire back half of the season, the San Francisco 49ers defense has been one of the best in the NFL, and DeMeco Ryans' unit put forward a marvelous performance in the first round of the NFL playoffs, shutting down those fraudulent Dallas Cowboys. As for Deebo Samuel, we'll get to the quote from John Lynch here in just a few moments. He wants Deebo to be rocking the scarlet, red, and gold for many years to come. Deebo Samuel right now, in my opinion, probably the best all-around offensive weapon in the National Football League outside of quarterbacks. Nobody really in the history of the NFL has put forward a season to the likes of what Deebo Samuel has put forward here in 2021 because of his ability to impact games through the air as a pass catcher, picking up yards after the catch as well, and as a running back. He's become the perfect weapon for Kyle Shanahan. Had a great year receiving the football as he was a constant threat downfield, crossing routes, corner routes. His route tree has really grown over the last couple of years since coming into the league out of South Carolina. And his rushing numbers this year is what makes him the ultimate Swiss Army knife in nowadays offensive-heavy NFL. 56 carries for 365 yards, 8 rushing touchdowns on top of his receiving touchdowns, and an average yards per carry of north of 6. Deebo Samuel, in the history of the 49ers, has had one of the most historic seasons, and this is one of the most historic franchises in NFL history, right? Because there's been a bevy and a plethora of Hall of Fame level and Hall of Fame caliber players who have rocked this 49ers jersey, and this year in 2021, bleeding into 2022, there have been few, if any, weapons on the offensive side of the football for San Francisco to have a season like this, because Jerry Rice wasn't the running threat that Deebo Samuel is right now. So is Deebo Samuel about to get paid? Well, if those stats didn't further the argument of why he should, what he did against the Dallas Cowboys was terrific. And how many times this year has Deebo Samuel bailed the offense out in monster spots? How many times has Kyle Shanahan called his number for him to pick up a big play? He did it again against the Dallas Cowboys at Jerry World. 10 carries, 72 yards, and 1 touchdown. The vision and the patience he showed on that touchdown scamper that went 25 yards to the house was special because he started right, bought time, cut it back up the middle, then kind of broke right again. That's a wide receiver doing that as a running back. Really, really special. Then through the air, 3 catches for 38 yards. And late in that game, Deebo Samuel went up to Kyle Shanahan and said, "Yo, Kyle, I'm your guy. I want the rock." And he came through in the clutch. Now, a couple of days ago, John Lynch was asked about paying Deebo Samuel, who's going into the final year of his rookie contract since getting into the league out of South Carolina, as I mentioned, as a second-round pick. And here's what the general manager of the San Francisco 49ers had to say. Deebo's going to be well compensated, and we plan on him being a Niner for a long time. When that happens, how that happens, I don't know. But yes, we are very aware of the many things he contributes to our offense, and his time is coming. I don't know when, but his time will come. Let's hope that Deebo Samuel can continue to stay healthy. We were having this argument and this conversation the other day. Is Deebo the best weapon in the NFL? And myself, Harrison Graham, we were kind of on the side of saying yes. And somebody hit me up in my Instagram DMs at Chase_Senior, and they're like, yo, is Deebo Samuel better than DK Metcalf? Last year, nobody would have said that. This year, definitely. And his ability to impact the game in a variety of ways is why I think he's really separated himself as a truly, truly special player. And he's the perfect weapon in Kyle Shanahan's offense. Think about the creativity that Kyle Shanahan has shown as a play caller since becoming the head coach of San Francisco. Of course, he relies on the run game to be dominant, and that's the bread and butter of this offense. And he's utilized and found a way to get the ball in the hands of his best playmakers. And that's what he's done with Deebo Samuel. And for him to turn Deebo into a hybrid running back wide receiver, I can't really remember how many times or how often coaches have been able to put a player in a spot to succeed, but that's what Shanahan has been able to do with Deebo this year. And this year, he's really taken onus in taking on leadership qualities. Myself, producer Marshall Green, were talking about this before the show. How swaggy was the video of Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams coming out of the locker room at AT&T Stadium, going onto the field, them just exuding confidence to the entire team prior to that massive matchup against Dallas. It was Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams leading San Francisco out of the locker room to the field prior to that game. That tells you everything that you need to know about Deebo Samuel being one of the marquee leaders on this team. It's the ability, it's the potential, it's the upside, it's already the production and what he means to this team. All reasons why I think he's going to get paid this season going into the final year of his contract. So I let my opinions be known about this subject matter. Deebo Samuel, absolutely special. What do you think, though? Should the Niners give Deebo the bag this offseason with 1 year remaining on his contract? Type P for pay, type D for don't pay. You let me know. It's going to be the pinned comment on today's YouTube video. And this kind of gives you an indication of how much money Deebo Samuel might get from John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan and this 49ers front office. Highest paid wide receivers, average annual value, meaning how much they make in base salary every year. DeAndre Hopkins on the books for $27 million here in 2021. Julio Jones at $22 million. Keenan Allen at $20 even. So too is Amari Cooper. And Michael Thomas, who really hasn't played the last 2 years, on the hook for $19 million with the New Orleans Saints. Now, 2022, as I mentioned, going to be the final year of Deebo Samuel's rookie year. So if you want to move forward with Deebo, not paying him, it's going to be a straight-up bargain if he can stay healthy, because he's on the books for a base salary of $1.9 million. I always kind of like to get these deals figured out and sorted out ahead of time, because year after year, the NFL salary cap continues to increase. That's going to happen over the next several years with this new television deal. So if you pay Deebo Samuel this offseason, you can actually get him at a bargain if he continues to ball out, show up and show out like he's done this year. Another question for the audience, because here on the 49ers Report, we are all about our audience engagement, because you're as much a part of the show as I am as the host. Fill in the blank for me. Deebo Samuel is a top blank wide receiver in the NFL. Fill in that blank. Let me know. Top 5, top 10. Hey, it's your opportunity to chime in the comment section down below. Also, make sure you give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram at Chase_Senior. Verify got the blue check mark on Twitter. I already have more than 5,300 followers. I love interacting with the Niner gang, whether it be publicly, just sending out tweets and replying to all of you, or in private with a lot of you who send me a lot of DMs. Now, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram. It's the same handle on both social media platforms, at Chase_Senior. During our watch parties, I also tweet out some of the highlights for those of you worldwide who are unable to actually watch the game. And speaking of our watch parties, here on the 49ers Report, we had never done watch parties prior to this year. They have been a massive success and a big reason why we've been able to grow as the fastest and largest 49ers News and Rumors channel on YouTube, well past 50,000 subscribers. 2 weeks ago, week 18, we had 84,000 people join us for that Rams-Niners watch party. And in the first round of the NFL playoffs, we had well over 70,000 people join us. And during those watch parties, I do a bunch of play-by-play. I like to break the game down because we have an audience in every pocket of America, but also worldwide as well. And I get so into the play-by-play because I'm so passionate about this football team. So coming up, if Marshall, you're ready to rock, I'm going to give you kind of a snippet, and I'm going to give you kind of a compilation of my best calls from that epic Niners win over the Cowboys. Enjoy it right now, and this is the energy level that I bring to the table for the faithful. Garoppolo takes the snap, pitch to the right, Elijah Mitchell to the 5, gets the pylon, and he's in! Touchdown! San Francisco! 53-yard attempt for Robbie Gould from the right hash. Snap good, hold is good, the kick is up, and the kick is good. Robbie Gould from 53 puts 3 on the board. Gould already 1 of 1. The Penn State product was true from 53. Longest field goal since 2018. This time set up from the right hash. 40-yard attempt. The kick is up, and the kick is good. San Francisco takes a 13-0 lead. 3 receivers, 1 tight end. Ezekiel Elliott lined up out wide as well. Empty set for Prescott. He takes the snap. Ball into the end zone. Has a man caught. Touchdown. Amari Cooper. 3rd and 6. Dallas gets on the board with the score. right in between the hashes from 52 yards out. The kick is up, and the kick is good. San Francisco takes a 16-7 lead. Robbie Gould, 3 of 3. 2 of 2 from 50-plus yards. Prescott takes the snap, drops back, pass over the middle, picked off! K'Wan Williams, interception! San Francisco! Garoppolo in the gun, takes the snap, handoff, Deebo cuts from the outside to the inside! 20, 15, 10, 5! Touchdown! San Francisco! 25-yard score! Game over! Game over! Niners win! Niners win! Final score, 23-17. Now, peeking over at the comments section, and a lot of you join us every single week, every single game day for our watch parties, but how do you watch that energy? How do you watch that play-by-play and not join us for a watch party this upcoming Saturday for the second round of the NFL playoffs as the San Francisco 49ers take on the Green Bay Packers? And, of course, during that call, you heard plenty of San Francisco chants. Well, we made it into a t-shirt. Now, I was just informed recently that Gary Papa, the legendary play-by-play voice of the San Francisco 49ers, also does that call. I honestly didn't know that, but it's been a part of the brand, and it's really become a big part of the 49ers Report. So if you want to show some love to the 49ers Report, me, the energy that I exude here on the 49ers Report, make sure that you buy some of these shirts. San Francisco, white, red, black, all available right now. If you plug in that link down below, it's chatsports.com/SF. I'm going to put that link in the comment section as well as the description of this video, and make sure you join me for another Niners watch party Saturday night against the Green Bay Packers. I'll be going live about 15-20 minutes before kickoff, and this is another reason why you got to give me a follow on social media at Chase_Senior, because I keep you up to date with the latest Niners news and rumors and, of course, video clips like that. Real quick before we get out of here on this segment, DeMeco Ryans. He's really been one of the best defensive coordinators in the NFL since about the midway part of the season, and because of that, his stock is soaring in the NFL head coaching carousel. And tomorrow, as we record this on Tuesday, on Wednesday, he's going to do an interview with the Minnesota Vikings via Zoom. This coming from Albert Breer. He said this on Twitter. 49ers DC DeMeco Ryans will interview tomorrow for the Vikings head coaching job per source. The interview will happen via Zoom. So don't worry about him being distracted in the lead up to this game against the Packers. Of course, he has his hands full going up against a very good Packers offense with Aaron Rodgers. He'll do that interview via Zoom, and let's hope that the Minnesota Vikings come away thinking, DeMeco Ryans, it might be a little bit too early for him being a first-year DC to make him the head coach, because we want him back in the Bay Area in 2022. Sports Illustrated did talk about DeMeco Ryans interviewing for the Vikings, and they kind of labeled him as a guy who really has his stock up among some of the head coaching candidates across the NFL. They said this about DeMeco, whose nickname is Mufasa. The Cowboys entered this game with the #1 offense in the NFL by both yards and points, and they struggled mightily all game long against the 49ers defense. Dallas finished with 17 points, but 10 of those came in the final 12 minutes of the fourth quarter after San Francisco had lost its two best defenders in Fred Warner and Nick Bosa. Similarly, 150 of their 307 total yards came in the fourth. The 49ers sacked Dak Prescott 5 times, picked him off once, and completely shut down the running game. Ryans dialed up beautiful pressures all game long. He was pressured on 25 of 52 dropbacks, by the way, but the most impressive was a 0 blitz on a critical 4th down with less than 2 minutes to play. That was a strong display ahead of his interview with the Vikings on Wednesday. Now, of course, Miek Zimmer was a defensive coach for Minnesota. DeMeco Ryans also a defensive coach. So are the Minnesota Vikings going to go from defensive coach to defensive coach in a very offensive-heavy era? to be determined. But this is what I do know. DeMeco Ryans has been tremendous for San Francisco this year. The secondary has been pretty weak and lackluster, although they've really improved. That NASCAR package that they run up front on the interior defensive line and along the defensive line has been marvelous. And the Niners, with that pass rush and some of the play designs confusing opposing offenses, is a big reason why the Niners defense has been one of the best in the NFL since really that midway point of the season, as I did mention. And Kyle Shanahan deserves a lot of credit for having DeMeco Ryans go from linebackers coach to defensive coordinator, filling the big shoes that Robert Saleh left when he took the head coaching job with the New York Jets. So chime in here and sound off in the comment section once more. Will DeMeco Ryans get a head coaching job during this head coaching cycle? Type H for he's going to get hired, 49 for you want him to stay. Let me know how you're feeling about DeMeco going to possibly the Minnesota Vikings.